Did you know that American Truck Simulator was supposed to start with twice as many trucks? Or that the original map was so much smaller, SCS ended up rebuilding the entire game just months after release? And that's only the beginning, from entire cities that disappeared from the map to forgotten companies that never made it into the final game. Here are some of the most interesting ATS facts that you probably didn't know. Believe it or not, American Truck Simulator wasn't supposed to launch with just 2 trucks. When SCS was preparing for release in early 2016, the goal was to have at least 4 trucks available from day one. But real-world licensing proved to be a total nightmare. Manufacturers took so long to sign off on the approvals that when ATS officially released on Steam, it only had 2 playable rigs, the Kenworth T680 and the Peterbilt 579. It's pretty crazy when you think that SCS Software already had 2 additional models built and ready to go. They even showcased them in the release previews. But without the legal sign-offs, they were trapped in the development purgatory. Nowadays, ATS features almost every major North American truck brand, but back in the day, it all started as a 2-truck show. The entire map used to be 75% smaller? Yes. When ATS launched in 2016, it used the 135 scale instead of the 120 we know today. As a consequence, SCS faced what was probably one of the biggest decisions in the history of this game's development. Before adding more DLCs, they chose to rebuild the entire map at a larger scale, a move they described as now or never. The process took thousands of development hours. They had to stretch roads, move cities around, and redesign major interchanges before the game could continue to expand. That single decision shaped every state that followed. Without it, the American Truck Simulator we know today would not exist. Ironically, even the 120 scale is now beginning to show its limits as ATS pushes further into the northeastern United States. If you're curious why, I made an entire video breaking down the map problems they are facing and why it could become one of the biggest obstacles for the future of ATS. This next one is one of my favorites, and it sounds made up, but it's actually true. ATS was officially scheduled to launch on February 3rd of 2016. But players had a very pleasant surprise because the game actually became available on Steam a day earlier, on February 2nd. That means that ATS became playable before its own official launch date, giving virtual truckers an unexpected but pleasant head start. In a world where major game releases are constantly being delayed, SCS managed to do the exact opposite, even if it was just by a single day. I'm sure there's at least a few of you watching this that made the most of that day. Let me know down in the comments if you was one of them. I'm sure we can all remember, when the game launched it only had 2 states, California and Nevada. But very few know that Nevada almost didn't make the cut. As launch day approached, California was the only state guaranteed to be ready in time. Nevada's development was running so far behind schedule that SCS even kept the game's physical retail packaging deliberately vague, just in case. Thankfully the map team finished in time, and Nevada made it into the launch version after all. But it's crazy to think how different those first impressions could have been. ATS already launched with just half the trucks, and it came really close to launching with just half the map as well. Today, buying a new map DLC is just part of the American Truck Simulator experience, and normally we have to pay anywhere between $10 to $20 for it. But there was one exception to this rule. When Arizona was released back in 2016, SCS made it completely free for every ATS owner. Instead of charging for the game's first map expansion, the studio chose to expand the world at no additional cost to the player, giving us an entire new state to explore just months after launch. Looking back now, with dozens of paid map expansions available, it's easy to forget that the first one didn't cost players a single dollar. Remember how back in the day, SCS had to work really hard just to get enough truck manufacturers on board? Fast forward a few years and the situation took a big turn for the better. In 2020, the Western Star 49X arrived in ATS at virtually the same time it was unveiled in the real world. And that was followed by the Western Star 57X doing the exact same thing. So it's safe to say that many of us ATS players drove those new models in-game before many seasoned truckers got to do it out there. SCS went from hoping manufacturers would approve their trucks to becoming part of their real-world launches, and that's pretty amazing. Did you know that not every road in American Truck Simulator is visible on your GPS? In 2022, SCS introduced secret roads, hidden routes that only appear after you've driven on them for the first time. Until then, it's almost as if they don't exist. The idea actually grew out of something that the community had been doing for many years, players loved exploring narrow service roads, forgotten back roads, and small detours that weren't even part of the main road network. SCS embraced that sense of discovery and turned it into an official feature. Now, whenever you spot a suspicious dirt road, or an unmarked entrance leading away from the main road, it might just reward your curiosity, and after you drive it, that hidden road is permanently added to your map as proof that you discovered it yourself. As the game developed and evolved over the years, SCS erased parts of the map completely. With the California rework and other map improvements, several towns that existed in older versions of ATS were either removed, relocated, or absorbed into larger redesigns. Places like Oakdale, Leggett, or Blue Lake are just a few examples that longtime players might remember. If you rolled back to a 2016 build today, you'd be driving through places that literally do not exist in the current one. What if I told you that the fictional companies you deliver cargo to weren't just random names created for ATS specifically? Several of them are actually legacy brands carried over from SCS's older titles like 18 Wheels of Steel from over 20 years ago. Others hide developer inside jokes and hidden Easter eggs like the Sebors Market, proudly showcasing the name of the SCS's founders. Not every company made it into the final game, obviously. If you dig through older game files and early development material, you'll find a few of those leftovers, acting as reminders of ideas that never came to life. Back when ATS only covered a handful of states, SCS was already thinking far beyond the West Coast. As the team worked on the map rescale, they revealed a long-term goal, eventually having two dedicated teams building the United States at the same time. One of them would continue expanding north, while the other pushed east across country. At a time, it was an incredibly ambitious plan that might have worked or might have not, for such a young game especially. But looking at the size of the map today, clearly that thinking years ahead played a huge role in turning ATS into a cross-country experience that we enjoy today. If you've ever browsed through the achievement list in ATS, you might notice that some of their names sound oddly specific. That's because a number of them are inspired by real places, events, and figures from American history. References about Billy the Kid and the Wild West, iconic highways and historical landmarks. SCS has hidden small pieces of American culture throughout the game's achievement list. They're easy to miss when you're focused on completing your deliveries, but it's pretty cool to learn that many achievements celebrate the history and identity of the places you are currently driving through. For me, this makes it feel more than just a trucking game, full of small reminders that every road has a story, and American Truck Simulator has plenty of them to tell, and many more to come. So there you have it, some of the most interesting American Truck Simulator facts you probably didn't know. But if you already knew every single one of them, I guess you're a true ATS veteran. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and leaving a like, it helps me more than you know, and keeps me going with more ATS and ETS2 content coming soon. And as always, until the next time, stay safe on the road, and keep on trucking. Cheers.